Hey, what's up, everybody? It's B. Said we'd be back, and we're back. We're here to finish up the last of 3 videos that Boy Yehuda and I have been working on, and we're going to talk about proteins today. Let's jump right into it because I don't know how much time this is going to take up. So, this is, I got some really cool drawings. This is the letter A, right? This is the letter B. You guys with me so far? This is the letter C. Okay. Alright, there's actually a point behind this. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. We take those letters and we put them together and we make words out of them, right? If we just threw them in a random order, it wouldn't mean a whole lot. But if you put them in a specific order and you give them a specific function, they serve a much greater purpose, right? As words. That's what proteins are. Proteins are a block of amino acids. All right. Now, an amino acid is basically it's an acid, and without getting incredibly technical, it's made up of what's called a carboxyl group and a nitrile group. Don't worry about that; it's not important. You can look it up if you're curious, but that's what an amino acid is. And there are 20 different amino acids in the body. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, these amino acids come together in various different forms and fashions, and the order and the particular amino acids that come together determine what type of protein it is. There are thousands of proteins in the body, literally thousands. You know, an amino acid might look something like this, depending on where the bonds are and where the atoms sit. It might look something like this, and it might look something like that. And these amino acids come together, and like I said, they build these globules. And a globule, it's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, if this is a string of amino acids, it kind of just means something like this, right? And that's a protein, okay? No, not really a protein. It's a bent-up coat hanger. But anyway, so this globule will have a function, and a different globule might have a different function. In fact, you know, I said there are thousands of them in the human body. Over half of the body weight in your body, half of it, dry weight now, if you took all the water out first, is made up of proteins. Now, what do proteins do? Okay, we talk about proteins, and I know it's how we get our muscles, right? I don't have much muscle, but anyway. But what else do they do? Well, proteins provide a lot of different functions. Probably one of the most important is structure. All right, take a suspension bridge, for example. We all know what the Golden Gate Bridge looks like. It's got these cables and these posts and the thing across the bottom, these little arches and these rivets all over it and stuff, right? Well, if each of those pieces was a different protein and they all come together to form the function of that bridge, that's what proteins do in the body to provide structure, whether it be for organ walls or for muscle fibers or whatever it is. I'm reading off my paper here because this is a lot of information. They provide transportation inside the body. Okay, oxygen has to have a way to get from your lungs to the rest of your body. Red blood cells perform that function. Guess what red blood cells are? Proteins. That's right. And even inside the cell, not necessarily around the body. You know, energy, you know, the sugars that your body gets into, I'm not going to get into Krebs cycle and all this crap, but has to have a way to get from one part of the cell to the other. Well, that transportation module is built up of proteins. All right? Antibodies in the body. When you get a flu, okay, your body has to know how to build the right protein that's shaped the right way, right, so that it can go up to the flu virus and grab it and get rid of it. Okay? That's how your immune system works. It's made up of proteins. In fact, it builds proteins on the fly based on what your body's telling your immune system. And guess how that signal gets there? Proteins. Let's see. So, the antibodies, muscles, obviously, right? We talked about muscles. You know, usually you have some fibers. If my arms were protein fibers, that kind of contract and against each other, and whenever they get a signal. Well, guess how they get that signal? Proteins. And guess what the fibers themselves are made out of? Proteins. You see where I'm going here? Lots of things inside the body require proteins. Now, like I said before, there are 20 amino acids that occur inside the body. Your body makes 11 of the 20, okay? Guess where the other 9 come from? In the food we eat. That's why we talk about protein so much, because if you don't get those amino acids, your body doesn't perform those functions. It can't make those other 9 amino acids. So your immune system's not going to work properly. Your hormone levels are not going to be the same. Things like your hair is going to fall out. Things like your skin is going to get all nasty and flaky and fleshy. Your muscles are going to deteriorate because your body can't build muscle mass. You're going to be weak because the structure inside your body is not going to be the same. You see now all these signs that we talk about protein deficiency, why it's important that we eat protein. That's why there's so much emphasis on protein whenever you go talk to your surgeon, whenever you go talk to your doctor or your nutritionist, because that's the one thing that people tend not to eat whenever they start to diet. They don't eat meats. They don't eat dairies. They don't eat, they eat lettuce and they eat carrots and they eat potato chips, but they don't eat the stuff that they have to eat, right, to get those essential amino acids. Now, where do we get those acids from? Right? Well, we mentioned a few of them. Meats, obviously, fish, poultry, beef, anything, any flesh, any muscle. Obviously, if muscle is protein, we talked about that, right? Then if you ate muscle, that's protein. Yeah? Makes sense? Awesome. Eggs. Protein shakes. These are things that we call complete protein sources. Write that down. It's an important term. What complete protein sources means is a source of protein that contains all 9 essential amino acids. That's another buzzword for you. The 9 amino acids that we don't get, that we don't make on our own, are called essential amino acids. And if a protein source has all 9 of those amino acids, it's called a complete protein source. All right, that's your lesson for today. Remember that. So now there's a kicker here. If we have to have amino acids, right? Sorry, my phone's going off. If we have to have amino acids, and amino acids come from fish and chicken and meat and dairy, well, how? If I'm a vegetarian, I'm not a vegetarian, but we have people who are. In fact, my friend Yehuda's a vegetarian. Where do they get protein from? Well, protein for a vegetarian is a lot more difficult because most of the things, not all the things, but most of the things don't contain complete protein sources. They're not complete protein sources. Or if they are, they're very, very small amounts. Like the amount soy is one of the few complete protein sources in the vegetarian I'll call it a menu, okay? The list of things that vegetarians would eat from. It has a very small amount of soy. If you took a cup of pure soy and a cup of chicken, all right, the chicken is going to outweigh the soy by leaps and bounds in the amount of protein that it has. So it's really essential that someone who gets their nutrients from vegetables eats those things in great frequency. And a lot of them. There's a grain called quinola that is a complete protein source. There are soybeans we've talked about. Soy products like miso and tofu and things like that. Those are also complete protein sources. So that's it. I seem like a lot, and it gets pretty technical if you really want to think about it. And we probably could have gone a lot further, but that's a really good overview of what proteins are, how they function in our body, why we need them in our body, and where we get them from. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to talk more about how to structure our meals. We've talked about reading labels. You know how to read labels. You're an expert on all 3 macronutrients now. Now I would recommend that you go talk to your nutritionist and go find out how many calories a day you should eat and what they think that those meals should be comprised of. How much vegetable, what percentage, I guess is the question you should ask. How much of my diet should be protein? How much should be carbohydrate? How much should be from fat? Find those numbers out, and when you come back, we'll talk about how to put your meals together and how to plan for your week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed all the nutrition videos. Please rate or thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. Let us know what you're thinking. If you have any questions or suggestions, you let me or Yehuda know. Comment or send us a message. And you guys take care, and we'll see you next time. See ya.